we're a resource constricted team. And so just one afternoon, I hopped into Replit in tandem with Claude Code and said, like, look, just build me a prototype. And it wasn't good. I was so excited because I was like, man, in an hour, I did this from idea to proof of concept and ruled it out. And I didn't waste anybody's time, including my own. That feels really good.
Welcome to LaunchPod AI, the show from LogRocket where we sit down with top product and digital leaders to talk real, practical ways they're using AI on their teams to move faster and be smarter. Today, we're talking with Pharr, CPO at Sporcle, who's leading AI adoption across both product and content teams. In this episode, we'll discuss the 3 biggest barriers at any company to AI adoption and how Derek overcame them, how Sporcle built a content intern with Claude Projects and significantly improved user engagement, and how Derek prototyped, tested, and rejected a new doomed product idea in under an hour, avoiding weeks of wasted engineering time. So here's our episode with Derek Pharr. All right, Derek, good to see you again, man. How you doing? It's been a little while.
I'm great. It's good to see you too. I can't wait to get you back in Seattle and we can hang a little bit.
It was fun hanging out. So for context, Derek and I met at one of the dinners we did in Seattle. You and Neha know each other, who was on the show a little while back too, right?
She's great. I mean, if you haven't listened to her appearance on the pod, just put it on pause, come back, but go listen to her first because she's fantastic. I've had the chance to get to meet her a couple of times here in Seattle and she's smarter than anybody has any right to be. She's great.
Yeah, no, she's smart people. The whole like building an AI intern in their Slack instance was wild. So yeah, definitely check that episode out.
After listening to that, I wrote her and I was like, you got to send me the prompt you used for that. It was so good. Yeah.
I was stoked on that one. We're actually trying to do something similar now. But good news is we have a whole different thing to talk about here. Like the whole theme of this show has been predicated on we're all as product and go-to-market people trying to figure out how do you actually use AI on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. You, your team, how do you enable people, not just building it into the product, which I think we're all also trying to do. Everyone has the board going like, sprinkle a little AI magic on there. But how do we actually use it to be faster and smarter and better and all that kind of stuff? So you have a bit of a different kind of set of things. You didn't build an AI intern. Not yet, at least it sounds like you will.
I want to, yeah.
Yeah, you will. Shortly, it sounds like. But we're going to talk about a bit around how do you actually get a team to move and be excited about AI. And I think you broke down like 3 kind of hesitancies that you've seen people have around it. And then how'd you get past it? How'd you help teams like really up level here? So maybe lay that piece out first before we go into it.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. It's an interesting thing. Like you get in tech, especially like Seattle's a very technical town. Yeah. And you talk to people and yeah, AI is sprinkled everywhere. It's just the pixie dust you see. As well it should be. Like everything changes really quickly. It's just ridiculous. And Sporcle is a content company, like we deal in trivia, but we're also a tech company. And so you'd think that it would be this just like perfect marriage to sprinkle AI into everything we're doing. But what I've found is that there isn't resistance, but there's hesitancy. And when you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. So on one front, we have like this amazing content team and an amazing content community. And the content folks are very hesitant around AI. They're like, this is coming from my job, or I don't want AI trivia, or what even is this? And why is it, why are we here? Like, I just don't want to be here. Why are we here? And I definitely understand that. Like everything's changing quickly and it's a strange new world. But it's hard to kind of allay that because I like the job market's hard and it feels like AI is coming for jobs everywhere. And so when people are concerned about their job, I take that very seriously. Like I hear that in my soul. But for me, AI, and for I think most of your listeners, AI is this incredible tool. And so I think there's 2 parts where you kind of hear people's concerns, but then you also outline like how good it can be a tool. And so one way I hear people's concerns and really let them know that I get where they're coming from is that writing in general, like writing trivia it's a craft, like it's an art form. And I can elevate trivia because I work in it and people might roll their eyes, but we take trivial things very seriously here at Sporcle. And AI is, at least in this moment in our history, not very good at writing trivia.
Or anything else from scratch, really.
Yeah,
like exactly. It's still really, you can tell that beyond the M dash and all the kind of little tells, it still has that uncanny valley of it lacks. I don't know. I used to say it lacks taste, but now that's become such a trope to say, is just like, that's kind of the easy answer to say, but it misses the mark still. It's not there. Maybe one day.
Yeah, it's like there's a nuance to it. Like good trivia takes nuance. Anybody can ask the question, like, what's the capital of New Mexico? Like, that's not good trivia. That's just a question people ask. That's just stating facts. Good trivia is more nuanced. And so a better question, even though it's not a great question, is what's the capital of New Mexico? Spelling counts. And what that does is it layers this extra thing in. And it's a trick. It's kind of a mean trick because you get people trying to remember like how many Q's and how many letters, when in reality, Santa Fe is the capital of New Mexico. But, that's a better trivia question than AI is even capable of at this point. And when I start to have those conversations with people on the team and then start to illustrate ways that it can actually make their job easier and free them up to be more creative people and do more creative things, then you start to see some of those light bulb moments where people come around a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, right. You start to get into what makes good trivia. And there's maybe if you had a giant repository of great questions that were all rated by response and how people felt about it and all those kinds of things, you could probably start to get there. But I don't know. I've entered huge amounts of context data into things, into GPTs, and still in the end, what comes out needs a human touch at the end. So
yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And that's actually a good segue if we wanted to go there into like something that I've done around our content that did lead to one of those light bulb moments.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. So you ever use Claude Projects?
I am starting to dip my toe into Claude.
One thing that I found that is really good for is around content. So I'll go into Claude, create a project, and then just feed it knowledge. Like you can give it this body of project knowledge, and then you give it parameters. And like any good thing like this, you use AI to build AI. So I'll go into ChatGPT and say like, hey, help me with the Claude prompt, and then build that back over in Claude, test it out, see how it goes, give that feedback either to Claude or back to Chat, and tweak the two working together until I get to a point where I feel like, okay, it understands what I'm trying to do and we can work forward. Because for me, using any of these tools is a conversation. It's not a set and forget it. It's this back and forth and it's iterative. And I think that's what most people are finding, that if you really want to use these tools successfully, that's how you do it.
So how are you using your content though from that standpoint? So you got Claude Projects and you put content into it. I've seen all over my LinkedIn now people saying Claude is so much more than a code tool. It's fantastic for content. I use it to edit this. I use it to do this. I've never seen the actual, what does that look like? Or what do you do with it? Just more, I've seen people say, I use it for that and it's great. And it outputs this magic.
Yeah. So to get a little more specific, what I did was I took every geography trivia question we asked at one of our pub trivia shows across the country for the last year and dumped it out into CSV file. And I uploaded that as part of like the knowledge base that this project has. And then I put some of our style guides. I put some of the output that we do from shows. I put just a brain dump of thoughts from my own experience and all that kind of created this like knowledge base. And then the project instructions are, okay, Claude, here's what you're doing. You're going to help me analyze trivia and related metadata. I want you to be able to summarize. I want you to be able to identify signals like duplicates, question length, readability, missing fields, potential bias, look for patterns, all these kind of different things, right? So it has this kind of like Neha was talking about in hers, like she has a product intern. This becomes like a content intern. And so with that and through back and forth with this product knowledge repository, you take all of these geography trivia questions in there, and then you can start to ask it interesting questions like, give me every question we have about Michigan. And so it does that. Okay. Tell me what questions I ask too much of. Tell me where I might have gaps in our trivia. And what you find, I bring up Michigan because a lot of our content folks are in Michigan. We get a lot of Michigan questions. Now, it used to be way worse over the years, but historically, yeah, they ask a lot about like the Pistons and Motown and the Red Wings. And so when you can use a tool like that to just help you with some of your blind spots, in addition to being a sparring partner, it's one of those moments when you show it to people, they're like, oh, another great actual use case of this is if you're writing questions, we have questions in a lot of different places. We've been doing this long enough that it's not all as consolidated as it should be. And so when you start to consolidate it in this world, it really helps you with, okay, I'm writing a trivia question. Gosh, have I asked this before? Have I asked this recently? Have I asked it this way? You pop that into your little project and it comes back and be like, oh, you asked this exact same question on February 4th at this show. And we have get rates. People got like 64% on it. And you can be like, okay, I still want to ask this question. So then you can massage and go back and forth on how to ask the question differently. Or maybe you ask for suggestions like, okay, can I ask this question that I asked about Michigan, but can you give me ideas based on other content I've already fed you about Washington or about Boston or about any other number of places? It's pretty cool once you put these things in here. It's getting people past a little bit of that hesitancy.
Right. So you're actually recording not just the questions, but because I assume it's digital interface where you guys are doing trivia, it's the answers, the correct rate, the wrong rate, all that kind of stuff.
All sorts of stuff, like what night it was asked, who asked it, like which host did it, which part of the country, right? We do trivia in like 30, 35 different states. So we get regional information. And so we could tell, who's getting that question right more in one part of the country versus others. We have A and B sets where we ask the same question, but we'll ask it maybe a little differently depending on the audience. And so all of that goes in there, and then you can have a conversation about the past to help you with what you're doing currently.
I got to ask, do you guys have a target correct rate, or how do you kind of look at that and go, that's a good question? I assume you don't want 100% people getting it right because it's probably too easy. 100%, like I'm a big Jeopardy fan. My wife and I watch Jeopardy every night and we play against each other because we're cool like that. But, it's definitely episodes where you watch and you go, I'm no Ken Jennings here, but I can usually hold my own. And when I go through a round and get maybe 2 questions right, I'm like, well, that probably wasn't that great for an episode. But you also start to look at the competitors and realize they're coming out of the show and it was just a very low scoring game because they all barely got anything right. It's a boring show. Like it's terrible to watch. How do you guys kind of look at that piece? And does this help you?
So that's a great question. It depends on the question, right? So when you go to a pub trivia night of ours, and this is kind of the dirty little secret, maybe I shouldn't tell that I'm going to, is the first question of the night should be maybe the easiest question. Not 100% get right. We don't want everybody to get everything all the time, but it should be easy. And it's game theory, right? You just want to bring people in slowly to the experience so you don't just flap them. And so like your first question, maybe even your first couple questions are going to be easier so that people can feel smart because they're smart. They just don't know it yet, right? Then as the game goes along, and so like that's going to be like 80+% people getting it. The events folks, when they listen to this, might slack me later and be like, Derek, you got your percentages wrong, but just go with it.
Directionally accurate, not exactly accurate.
Exactly. And I'm gonna use that term now for the rest of my life. That's fantastic. But then as the game goes on, you want to dip into that like 50 to 70 range, kind of depending. And then as the game is close to ending, you want it to go back up so that people kind of finish on a high note. And then we have a final question, and the final question should be hard, but not too hard, right? If 25% of the people are getting the final question, that's not a great final question because that means only 1 in 4 teams, and it's not just individuals, it's teams, went to pub trivia and got it right. And that's a little on the low side. But then conversely, if it's too much the other way. So but to answer your second part of your question, if we go back and analyze data, and we have a lot of things in Power BI, and the more we move them into projects and other things like this to help us analyze that data, and we see that, our questions are trending too easy, especially in one part of the country, that's when some of those other kind of question sets come in where we go, okay, maybe these folks need to get something that's a little bit harder, and maybe even the questions we're asking across the spectrum are too hard.
And you could have done that before, right? But it probably, the actual work to do it was exponentially harder, and you needed a different skill set of person to do it than probably you had around.
That's actually a really good point because like the person you have doing it is more on the data scientist side of things, and they're great. Like they're super smart people, but you want to democratize the data science and put it in the hands of the people on the front lines, the writers, the hosts, the people running the events. And there's just this gap between the two, but AI bridges that gap really nicely. So that's part of of helping people just get past even what they're afraid of.
And then the content team starts to see it not as it's coming to take our job, but it's helping me create better experiences for people and better questions and make sure my questions work all over where they should. I mean, has that played out? Like, have you seen that play out from a standpoint of kind of the team adopting solutions or seeming more positive on insights?
Getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, I think for both content and product, it speaks to the next level of hesitancy, which is just people are buried. And so it's really hard for people to poke their head up and be like, oh, wait, I got to learn a new tool. I got to figure out even what a language model is. I got to, like, it can be a lot to ask. It's like people are just trying to dog pedal in the ocean and you throw them a puppy. And so that's a lot. So that can be really hard for people, which slows the adoption a little bit. And so that goes back to a little bit of what I've been talking about, which is this just show, don't tell way of doing things. And I have the luxury of doing that. I'm in leadership. I get to be a little bit more divorced from some of the boots on the ground stuff. And so it gives me a little more space to learn these things, experiment, try different projects, and then roll them out to people and get people involved and say like, okay, look, I know you're busy. Just give me an hour and I want to show you this thing. And so that helps, but it's a slow process just because people are buried, and trying to get them to make the investment that will help them get unburied is hard when you're just trying to get through the day. I mean, just to free up that time for creative people to do creative things, I think is so important. I mean, Ramon talked about this a while back, like earlier in one of your pods, just on everyone hates writing PRDs and everyone hates kind of gathering requirements. But if you can use these tools to really help make that process go easier and faster, it's great. Now, there's a little bit of a stigma that comes with it. I've had engineers, when I've sent them something, I've used chat, they're just like, you just had a robot do this. I'm like, yeah, I did. Is it wrong? Is it more thorough than what I gave you before? And so that you have to kind of get over even just the emotional resistance that comes with some of that.
One of our things is you can't write from scratch with AI. You can't just have ChatGPT spin up your post and send it to us. And we couple push back that like, that's, it's not fair that you guys can use it and we can't. And it's like, well, if you want to use it to word something better, or you want to use it to make it stronger, you can. But in the end, it comes down to like, if I can't tell it's AI, that means you probably spent more time on it than just putting it into chat. And that's fine. But the point is, if we can just read it and tell, like, no, that's not how, because then everyone can tell. And that's not what people wanted to read there. But for internal docs, it works great.
Oh, I mean, internal docs, it's amazing for like our help files. Like we used to have this old, like clunky, terrible FAQ. And we've moved that into just like a proper help desk. And just for like combing through with forums on the site of questions people are asking, like you dump all that into chat and just be like, okay, give me the top questions that people are asking. A lot of times people have already answered those questions for them. Cool. Let's just give me something that's human readable and natural and simple. And then you pop that into your help guide. People don't mind so much that's AI generated because it's helpful. It's actually like, I want to know how to do this thing. And it's just laid out for them nice and easy. And so it's really finding those use cases that work for people.
Yeah. I think we kind of went about explaining the problem, the solution, a slightly roundabout fashion, but like the idea is there's a cohort of people who they are factually really busy. And the funny part is they're probably the ones who would most benefit from a lot of these things. And so the answer there sometimes is they're set up a way that they can take them to go into it, or B, like someone who has been able to use it and can understand these tools, the AI capabilities a little bit more, help them get in there and help them solve one or two things real quick. Like get them some wins and don't tell them to go use AI. Show them, here's how you could approach this problem. But sometimes people are just so locked in and busy in their flow, it's almost impossible to kick head up and take the time to do it. Which similarly, like if you as a listener find yourself too heavy in flow to pick your head up and make sure you're getting this podcast every week and you're enjoying it, if you're on YouTube right now, just take half a second, hit the subscribe button, write us a review if you want, give us a like. If you're on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, subscribe to the podcast, write us a review. It really, really, really helps get the word out to anyone who you think would benefit. It helps us do the show more, bring more of this content forward to you. Also, the number one thing you can do, if I can ask for one thing, is tell a colleague, tell a friend. So if I ask one thing, is tell someone about the show. Before we move on, because there's a third one and it's really good, but I do want to go back to one other thing, which is, you were talking about in Claude. I told you I was going to have implementation questions in Claude. So for the kind of trivia and answers and all that kind of stuff, are you just kind of uploading like a CSV after each show, or how are you actually getting that in there and kind of helping the AI understand?
So for our shows, they all go into Salesforce, and then for deeper, like over time, they get archived off. And so for that, I'm not an engineer. So for that, I went to an engineer and said, hey, look, I need all this data. And then the engineer goes, how do you want it? And so they give it to me as a CSV, but for other things, you can get it as JSON. And those are the two formats I think that are the best for that. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Just give me a dumb file and let me point Claude at it. You could do more with Zapier and like true integration and all those kind of things. And we'll probably get there over time. But for something like this, where especially I would just want it to have a proof of concept to show people, just give me a data dump and I'll take it from there. And something like that for the engineer took them like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So this is the idea over time. You can just upload the kind of JSON from the most recent show and it will append. Are you not that far yet into kind of like ongoing updates?
Yeah, exactly. Back to that whole data schema integrity thing. There's still more to do to get it more consolidated. But yeah, I mean, we have in the past just Google Doc after Google Doc of trivia questions. It's too much.
I have found JSON to be a great unlock in a lot of kind of prompting and stuff like that. Just gives you a little bit more structure. It's simple enough that even non-coders can understand it.
And non-coders feel smart talking about it. Be like, oh yeah, this was a JSON blob we put in there. Yeah.
Exactly. But it gives you a lot more kind of control, especially I've been playing with VO3 for video, and that's really helped kind of get some cool output. So, all right. So the third one though is a bit different, right? Because it's more around trepidation around things like environmental impact, ethical, moral issues, it's a fuzzier issue. So how did you go about that one? Because that's going to be the toughest one, but I think every company's going to have some people who are kind of pushing back on that piece.
Yeah. I mean, it's every company, every family, everybody, like there's a lot of meat in that soup, and it makes sense. Like none of this is great for the environment. I mean, it's not, right?
Yeah.
And technology and nature honestly are often at odds with each other. And then there's just how I do my job. Like, oh, my job is fine. I'm good at my job. Why do I need to change? Like, this has worked before. Why do I need to do it again? Why are you making me change? And so there's even that like ethical of like, how much do we try and get to the heart of what people are doing in the act of creation? Like these are hard, gnarly questions to try and just take on in a one-on-one or in a meeting with a few people. And so again, a lot of this just comes down to like acknowledging from the outset and hearing what people have to say and seeing what can we do to alleviate concerns that isn't performative and actually helpful, right? So yeah, the environment's a big piece. And so one of the things we're looking at Sporcle is, okay, can we get involved and plant more trees, or can we do things to be more carbon neutral, or what can we do to help offset the use of these tools as opposed to just running away from these tools? Because not using them isn't going to work, right? Like we're at the point now where not using AI is going to be like showing up to work without your laptop charger. I mean, it actually might be without showing up without your laptop. Like, it's just a fundamental part of your job that you have to use it. But it gets sticky when people have like very real objections to using it, to put them in that position. And so I think the more that we can do to realistically help people just feel better about using the tools and put them at ease is the second part of that job. And then I think the third part of that is just continuing to experiment and try new things. Like each model is good for its own different reason, but each company behind it has their own motivations and their own kind of set of core values. And so making sure that as a company, the tools we're using are more closely aligned with maybe some of the core values of the people behind the tools, I think that can help a lot as well. I try and also just swing the other way. It's very real concerns, and there are real, actual big problems. There are.
Yeah.
But we're at this really cool point in history. Like I've worked in tech for almost 30 years, and I can't remember the last time I've been this excited about what we can do, like what we're capable of. And so I'm always talking about it. I'm always like trying to show off things that I've done, even things that haven't worked well. I'm like, look, this didn't work at all. Yeah, I think that the more you can just have honest conversations about it, acknowledge the bad parts, but also make space for the good parts. There's real amazing world problems I think we're going to be able to solve. History is littered with big disruptive things that people have been just terrified of for good reason, but then hopefully kept in counterbalance with just amazing advancements and just incredible things that you can do. And I think that this is a big one, but it's honestly in some ways no different than some of the big changes we've been through as a people before.
The one thing I do want to jump back to though, because we totally glossed over this, is on the element of kind of show, don't tell. You also had a great kind of story around prototyping and rapid prototyping. And that's one of the huge use cases I've seen for this is Lovable and Bolt and V0 and a million tools kind of popping up every day. It seems like to do AI coding. I know I've built, I think I've talked on the show about, I've built a couple of things that we use internally now. They're never, ever going to be production ready for anything more than 5 people here, but it gets us a lot of value, and it's something an engineer never would have built. At the same time, you were also able to test out some new ideas and kind of quickly validate, this is a bad rabbit hole to go down. This is not going to yield fruit. But it got you the answer a lot faster.
Yeah. I mean, so years ago, like a decade or more, we had this game idea of something we want to do on the site. And, for something like that, like I have to spec it. It goes through design. It goes through engineering and QA. And we had something that went all the way to QA and we're testing it and we're like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, we don't like this. And so all of this, like weeks and weeks of developments and work went into this thing that we scrapped and it went out the window. So flash forward to a couple months ago, I had a different idea for some kind of like cool wordplay trivia thing. But we're a resource constricted team. I mean, we're busy all the time, as is everybody. And so just one afternoon, I like popped into, I think I was using Replit at the time in tandem with Claude Code. And like, I took like screenshots from an old book that had something that's kind of similar to what I wanted to do. And then I like sketched some stuff out like on my iPad. And then I brain dumped all these things and said, like, look, just build me a prototype. And I didn't spend that much time. I mean, under an hour, and went back and forth with it of just, okay, now try this. And what about that? And feeding in, all this kind of answers. And then play tested it. And it wasn't good, right? Like, it wasn't a good experience. And Jeff, I was so excited because I was like, man, in an hour, I did this from idea to proof of concept and ruled it out. And I didn't waste anybody's time, including my own, because I learned a lot through the whole process. And we're not going to do that thing. And like that feels really good. The other thing I'll add is that like through the course of just even building some of these things on your own, whether they're good or not, it makes you a better product manager, because then it puts you a little closer into the shoes of an engineer or a designer who has to build what's in your head. And then you start to realize like, oh, when I'm giving them requirements, I actually need to make sure I'm accounting for this piece that I didn't really think of before, that they just do because they're good engineers or they know me. But you get more empathy for other people in those type of jobs. And you really start to appreciate some of those things like different UI constructs, data schema, that you didn't have that perspective before because you weren't the one building it. You were just the one coming up with it. So there's so many tools out there to just prototype and build that just jump in and start building things.
Yeah. I think I've found, like, when I first started out using these tools, it took me days and days to build something extremely simple because I kept hitting a point where I was like, oh, I messed this up, and I'd spend hours trying to fix it. And then realized the only answer was to roll it back and kind of start again. And I started to realize, oh, there's ways it does very well. There are paths you start to go down that are kind of hard to get off of once you're down to a certain level. And there's decisions you make, some of which have many branching choices and some of which have like only one or two. And if you made the wrong choice earlier, you're going to be in a bad spot. And I'd like to think this is because I've gotten better at doing this. I think probably what it is the tools have gotten a lot more advanced in what they're capable of doing. Plus maybe a little bit of I've gotten better. But also one big unlock was, as much as, everyone craps on writing PRDs, but I've started working with ChatGPT to write it. So I kind of give the description. I spend a lot of time writing what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I found a huge unlock has been asking it basically once I send it, say, ask me questions one at a time until you're really confident in building this. And what it comes back with is usually either A, things I hadn't thought about, like, oh, that is something we need to figure out probably before we get there. Or B, things I just kind of assumed, like, that of course is going to go that way. And then it asks a question and you realize, oh, there's actually kind of 3 or 4 ways that could have gone. And I really was obtuse on what that could have been.
Yeah.
But doing that has been able to I've been able to move a lot quicker on a lot of these tools now and build things that the team now uses a lot more. That's a lot more valuable because that was all forethought. And I spend less time doing it, which is great.
Yeah. One prompt hack I like to do in that exact same use case is write out what you're going to do, get there and go, okay, give this a spec review, but be 10x or 100x more thorough than I was. Yeah. And that kind of phrasing absolutely helps. The other thing in that vein, it goes back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier. Like, I always have my AirPods in. Like, I'm always just walking around, and except for when I'm trying to talk to people in real life, I take them out. But I have 4 dogs, and so I'm always walking dogs. Like, I don't recommend 4 dogs. Like, don't do that. But with 4, you're walking them all the time. And so I'll put my AirPods in and put like a note-taking app on, or even just Apple Notes, and just brain dump. Just go and like, okay, here's this feature I was thinking about. I want to do this, blah, 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 blah. I think we need to account for this. Here's the use case. And then I'll take that brain dump and then I'll run it through Claude and be like, here's all my raw thoughts. Help me clean this up so that it can get closer to something that resembles a product we want to build, and then take it from there. And so just kind of using those stolen moments of time to just get what's out of your head into something more usable has been really helpful for me.
Yeah. This is not an AI hack. This is a people hack a little bit, but I've found there's been a couple of things there's the whole class of little micro tools that we want internally for like the go-to-market team that just is never ever going to be worth an engineer spending time on, or is so boring, or like the value out of it is much less than the month of engineering time it's going to take them to make it or something like that. And now that's kind of a couple hour project to do on our end, because we don't need we don't need perfect architecture. We don't need enterprise standards for safety and all this kind of, auth and all those kinds of things. But the other thing has been, when we do have some pieces that maybe we want in the product or that do require more, real professional engineering. It's a little bit like the theory. If you want information on Reddit, don't ask a question, put the wrong answer in Reddit, and people will come out of the woodwork to correct you. Yeah. I'll take a stab at it and get it part way with some of these tools, and then show a couple of engineers, be like, look what I did. This is great. I mean, we're like halfway there already, right? And we've definitely had one or two where they're just like, I have to fix this. And you know what? We had that thing much, much faster shortly after that. Did I get a little bit of trouble maybe from whoever was running the sprint? Maybe. Usually though, something we're happy we had faster, but it definitely kind of got people to move on a couple of pieces faster than they would have otherwise, because it's much easier to kind of get someone going. Also, but I think there's the element of once they see it and they start to go, it's actually pretty cool, but I could do this so much better.
Yeah. I mean, when you're building tools like that, it's really hard to go to an engineering team and say like, hey, I want you to build this really cool thing, and it's for an audience of 2, right? Yeah. Like it's for 2 people. But then if you get far enough along, and then you can even show them intent, or you can show them like, okay, it's not that hard. And it's not that hard in that like, you might think I'm asking for the world, but I'm actually just asking for this little bit of a sliver. Then that helps you get a long way.
As much as I always have fun when I get to hang out with you, Derek, and I'll be back in Seattle soon, and we'll have to, get together. You do have a actual job over there. I do too. I gotta let you get back to it. So
I suppose. I mean, believe me, I think you and I could nerd out on this all day.
Oh, I could keep going, but it was great having you on, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. If people want to reach out and ask more questions about kind of how you guys did some of the stuff around Claude Projects, or a bit of the implementation questions, if people have questions about, there's a really cool use case too about how you guys organized your SporcleCon. Is LinkedIn the best place to do it?
LinkedIn is great. I love it when people hit me up on LinkedIn, but I also write a weekly newsletter. It's called Chief Rabbit. So chiefrabbit.com. And finally, if you're in Seattle, the last week of October is Seattle AI Week. And I'll be giving a talk at that actually. So
no way.
Yeah. I just found out recently. So, and it's in kind of a similar vibe and showing off some of the stuff. So that should be really cool.
That'd be nice. All right. Well, There you go. You can catch Derek on LinkedIn, or check out his newsletter, or see him at Seattle AI Week. And then, if you're enjoying this, like I said, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify Podcast, subscribe, give us a like, write us a review. It really, really helps. But above all else, tell a friend. But Derek, thanks for coming on, man.